What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Thingos back again for another video, and you already know I'm going to be talking about Invincible again today. This is going to be a quick little video kind of going into detail a little bit about what I enjoyed about the changes that they made with the whole Flaxen introduction that we got to see in episode 2. Now, as far as the show goes, I really like how they're switching a lot of things around, adding a lot of things here and there, and further developing plot points, characters, and storylines that weren't really that developed in the comic book or brushed over, you know what I'm saying? Or they just left a lot to the imagination, or we pretty much had to piece together the rest of the story ourselves, or you know what I'm saying, like they told the story but in a way that wasn't as fluid as just showing us through the pages or watching it as we're seeing in this animation. And I really liked how they did it, having the Flaxens come back 3 times all during the same episode, and to have it be done with their time stream through their universe, how it's set up to where like they have time go by way faster than what time is in the real world. Like I think for them it was like 3 days, 4 days, maybe like a little under a week, but for them it was decades passing every time they went back to their planet and came back. And having like a primary focus on one Flaxen who was kind of like a leader, who was kind of like the face of all the Flaxens. He was obsessed with victory, obsessed with beating them, and it really showed his leadership skills, because every time they came back they got stronger and stronger, and they were closer and closer to victory. And if you heard Robot during that 3rd invasion, the city was lost and he was ready to call Cecil and just be like, bruh, look, send a nuke, the city is done, we can't beat these niggas, it's over with. I thought that scene was kind of funny. I got another video going into further detail about Robot's response and you know, just how he thought about that, like his whole thought process, and how that's foreshadowing more things to come for his character. But yeah, man, the whole episode was excellent. Not only did we have a lot of introductions with new characters and stuff like that I mentioned in my review / recap, but overall the Flaxians and how they was introduced, what I'm focusing on in this video, it was done great. Like I wouldn't have done it any differently. I actually preferred how they did it in the show over how they did it in the comic, because in the comic, when the Flaxens attacked, when they first attacked, it was with Mark and his dad, and he did go through the portal and everything, but that was kind of like it. You didn't get to see what he did or nothing like that. Now, way later on, the Flaxens attacked maybe like 3 or 4 times throughout the series, maybe 5. But every time they attacked, it was like at random. It wasn't all in one issue, you know. Now, of course, they couldn't just it's different, you know what I'm saying? With a show that has hour-long episodes and a comic that has like 25-30 pages you can flip through like super fast, of course it's going to be differently, you know, paced with how they do it. But just the way that they told the overall Flaxen story in this first encounter was vastly different from how they did in the comic. In the comic, him and Omni-Man had a brief little fight with them. They started to age, and he actually went inside actually, he didn't even go inside the portal. Man, I take that back. Yeah, he didn't even go inside the portal with them in the comic book. In the comic book, when they started to age or whatever, the portal opened up right behind Nolan after they thought it was done, and they literally just grabbed him and pulled him into the portal, and he was just like, Dad, like just surprised, like they just like, nigga, and they just came in and grabbed him. So they actually pulled him in, and we didn't see what happened. He just popped back up at home and everything was safe and sound, and that was all good. Now you find out later on in the series that he actually fucked shit up, but you only saw like these brief little quick images that weren't really that clear. You couldn't see how bad the damage was. Like you knew he fucked shit up, and you knew they had a name for this dude, like they called him like the Destroyer or something like that. You knew that the event, like what he did when he went to that home world, shocked that planet forever, but we actually didn't get to see it. And the illustrations that were there greatly downplayed on how savage this shit actually was, like this massacre. Now we do know that Robot and Monster Girl, when they actually end up going to the Flaxen homeworld, they spent years rebuilding all the chaos and destruction that Omni-Man caused when he was there before, and Robot essentially rebuilt their whole planet and brought them back up to speed with everything, made them better than ever before. He essentially became their ruler, And yeah, that's also a very interesting plot thread that I'm gonna have to make a video about with Robot's character, which also leads to a very you know, crazy turn in his character as well for his future. But yeah, don't want to go too deep into that, but that just lets you know how it's all connected to their first encounter, their first introduction, and Omni-Man coming there and all that stuff. Now the way they did it in the show was that they came back, like I said, 3 times in the same episode, and the teen team fought them every time. And every time the teen team fought them, they got stronger and stronger. Like the first time they fought him, Mark, I like how they did the scene where he was surprised at all the damage that was being caused. It was pretty much like his first superhero saving the day situation that he was in, and he wasn't ready for that shit at all. And you just saw the collateral damage, people dying left and right. And there was this one Flaxen in particular, the one that they focused on. He was about to shoot this old lady. Invincible jumped at him, got a piece of concrete that had some rebar attached to it, went up beside his face and busted his eye out. So he had this gnarly scar on the side of his face that kept, like, well, another thing that was pretty cool, that scar on his face kept letting you know that it was the same Flaxen, because all the Flaxens, they look, you know what I'm saying, exactly the same. So that's another thing, giving him that scar and focusing in on him lets you see that that was the same one, and that he was the leader of this whole like thing. And I thought that was cool, man. Once again, I cannot emphasize on that enough how greatly that like little detail is emphasized on. To them, they've been fighting these guys a couple of days, but this leader has literally spent his whole life obsessed with defeating these people, obsessed with fighting them. Every time they went back, they trained for decades. He kept telling them he was going to be back. They kept getting stronger. They kept getting better. They kept getting better technology. Like, this dude was not playing. Like, he held a grudge and he wanted them to die. Like, if it wasn't for Omni-Man coming at the last minute, bro would have won. He would have killed Invincible, and he probably would have beat all the teen team and took over that city. I don't, like, he probably wouldn't have took over Earth. Maybe if Omni-Man wasn't there, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, I really enjoyed how they did the Flaxens. And the scene that I was building up to, the, you know, saving for last, bro, was when Omni-Man, like, the biggest change, Omni-Man going inside the portal himself, not just, you know, not just clumsily just you know, just getting pulled in there when his attention isn't, you know what I'm saying, like when they just got him with his back is turned, they just reach through the portal and pull him in. Nah, this nigga flew in the damn portal. Like, he tackled the leader. He flew in that motherfucker, straight up looked at them, and he was just like, y'all must not understand. Earth ain't yours to, like, Earth is not yours, bro. And then he just straight up just, nigga, just flew forward and just palmed the Flaxen, bro. Just palmed that nigga and just started flying through all these buildings and disintegrating his flesh and his skin and his armor with everything that he was just breaking through until he was reduced to sludge and nothing. It's just, he was just a decapitated head with an eye in it, and he squeezed that shit. And then he just started flying through all the buildings and nuking the whole, they're just showing you all the destruction and the chaos and just the leveling of the entire just civilization. And the part that I love the most was when Omni-Man literally dug up a damn crater. Like, this nigga dug up a whole piece of the earth, like a whole piece of the planet, bro, and just held it up, waiting for the scientists to finish making the portal for him to go back home. And as soon as they open that shit back up, he just like, all right, y'all. And the shit just fell, and they just looking up like, oh, and they just went to the next scene. I'm like, this nigga just took out the whole fucking, yeah. Like I said, the TV show did that whole thing a whole lot better, because now we get to see the amount of damage that he did and how fucked up it is. And like, you can literally visually see how bad he fucked them folks up. So now in the future, when Robot goes back there and we start to see him pick up the pieces with Monster Girl, that whole storyline, we're going to have way more of a connection with it and understanding with what's going on, because we actually saw that dope ass memorable scene that is going to be burned in our senses for the rest of our life of how Omni-Man just destroyed and wrecked that whole plant, bro. Like, I just, bro, like, it's crazy how I remember that scene more than him fucking up the Guardians of the Globe. Like, bro, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, the scene with him fucking up the Flaxens, bro. Like that whole planet, the scene with him fucking all them up, that shit, it stick out in my head more than him fucking up the Guardians of the Globe, bro. Like, probably just because the scale. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn. Like, Omni-Man did not have to go that far, bro. Then just gonna come back home and hug Mark and his mom like nothing even happened. Like, bruh's a savage. Like, they making him so cold in this show is ridiculous. But let me know what you think about the changes that they did with the Flaxen introduction in the show. Did you like it, dislike it? What did you like more about the comic or the show? You know what I'm saying? Just let's just talk about it, man. Just let me know what y'all feel about it. I personally feel like the show did a much better job handling the Flaxens than the comic did, at least with the first introduction. There's a lot more plot points with the Flaxens that have to be handled later on, so we'll see how they do those. But the first initial introduction to these characters, raw as fuck. I love how they did it, and I can't wait to see what, you know, happens in the future, man. So yeah, hope you're having a good day night wherever you are. Like, dislike, comment, you know what I'm saying? Let me know what you think. Share, subscribe, hit that bell to be notified for more videos like this one. You already know the link to the Discord is gonna be in the description, so hit that link to also join the Discord. We're gonna keep the conversation for Invincible going strong. And yeah, man, y'all have a good one. Peace.